Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your daily tarot and astrology reading for Sunday, August 25th of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful weekend so far. Let's go ahead and hop into today's transits and the cards, of course, so we see how you can be better prepared to navigate these strange, powerful, and strange times, I guess. Strange, powerful, enticing, empowering, inspiring, hopefully. Definitely some weird times indeed. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Oh, all right, two cards came out once. We have the Six of Bones or the Six of Wands upright. We have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Well, it seems like the way that we're going to be winning is by not making foolish gambles, foolish bets. The Wheel of Fortune could be trying to gamble on something that may seem victorious, that may seem more exciting or uplifting than it really actually is. The Six of Bones here is talking about, the way that we really win is relying on our own strength and our own merits and not just hoping that someone's going to come along and fix all of our problems for us. I think that this is a very interesting combination here of cards, of course. Like I said, it does speak to a level of victory. But what's interesting about this particular card with the Six of Bones here, Six of Wands, typically shows an individual that is riding a horse and there's people celebrating that individual like they have won something. In this deck, it shows this person and there's a lion standing above them, and it's almost sort of like a rite of passage sort of will. So that's why I like this particular depiction of the Six of Wands, because it does show that true victory is something that is going to come from within. It is an internal journey. It's a spiritual journey. It's a spiritual quest. It's not necessarily something that, you need the you need the admiration or the fervor from other people to acknowledge whether or not you are successful or you want something. It's something that comes from within. So that's the thing right now. It's like if you need other people right now to confirm your wins, your victories, if you need other people to come in and do all of that and you're unable to give it to yourself, that's where you're not going to be really feeling the fortune and all of the things that you can be grateful for. Of course, it's always nice to receive positive affirmations from other people and praise, but you have to be able to provide that for yourself, because if you're relying solely on someone else to fill up your cup and to provide that joy and that feeling of empowerment, right? That comes from you, empowerment. If you're unable to give that to yourself, you're not really going to be feeling the fortune. You're not going to be really feeling the good stuff that is there every single day. All right. So it looks like I'm going to end up drawing a couple of cards with this one. We have the Five of Swords in reverse, the Five of Bows in reverse. Yeah, this is definitely one of those moments where we are having to look in the mirror. And like I said, the Five of Swords usually shows someone who won a battle and then two people are walking away. So it's like you might have won the battle, maybe you'll lose the war, but what if you won the battle, but you did some underhanded things to get that victory? Maybe you're a little bit sneaky to kind of get that victory in life. Five of Swords in reverse, it's saying that, those sneaky things, especially considering the fact that the Wheel of Fortune is the other card that is reversed here, being sneaky and doing things to get victories that go against your morals and go against your values, but you do it just for the sake of winning, is not going to yield the results that you want. It may on the surface seem like it will, but spiritually, you will feel bankrupt. That's what I'm really getting here. It's like you'll feel spiritually bankrupt if you do that. It's like a by any means necessary kind of energy. No, you have to follow the righteous path here. This Five of Swords in reverse is saying that if you do not follow the righteous path, but you just do whatever you need to do to get the win, to get the victory, then there is a lack of integrity there. There is a lack of spiritual integrity there. If we look at the charts for today, we will see This moon is going to be finishing up in Taurus. It did sextile Saturn earlier in the day, but that's like really early in the morning, so we won't really feel that as much. Now, the one that we will feel, unless you're, I guess you would say, like if you're in Europe, you start off the day with this sextile, this moon in Taurus sextiling Saturn. If you're in Europe, if you're, more in like Middle East or in Asia, this is going to be like your afternoon going into your evening. So you'll be feeling that energy if you happen to be watching from those areas and stuff. This moon in Taurus is hopefully helping us to ground some spiritual concepts and some spiritual integrity with this Saturn in Pisces and help us to actually build some higher quality things. That's really what this comes down to, right? Not necessarily doing things for the money, but because it is rich for your spirit to do so. Now, we will see this moon hit up this square with Mercury retrograde, which is going to be kind of interesting, right? So this moon here in Taurus, wanting to, of course, like I said, it's a little bit more grounded, but this Mercury is retrograde in Leo, which is having people rethink the matters of the heart and rethink the matters of what is it that sparks their passion? What is it that inspires them? What is it that motivates them? Where's that extra motor with the Leo energy? What is it that they just can talk about for days and days and days? Mercury is already very chatty, and with Leo, this is all about your love and your passion. If you don't have something that you can just talk about to someone for days and like hours and hours and hours and just almost sort of like how like a child gets like really obsessed over something, and they can just talk about it and talk about it and talk about it until they're like blue in the face and it's like almost like annoying. If you don't have at least a couple of things like that you can talk about with people, then you're not gonna have a good time with this energy, because then you're gonna be wondering, it's like, oh shit, where are my values? Like, I don't feel like I'm grounded in anything, right? So it's like for me, I could talk astrology all day to people, right? I could talk anime all day to people. I can talk about sports all day to people, mainly football, And some of those things, and that's the thing with the square to the moon. It's like we have to kind of make that determining factor on, I guess what may be more valuable or not. But so long as it's valuable to you, that's really what makes sense. So your thing could be freaking, maybe the thing that you are obsessed over is model planes. Or the thing that you're obsessed with is cars. Or the thing that you're obsessed with is the history of bridges. I don't fucking know. It could be anything. But this is that moment where, and this is a brief moment. Like I said, this square it's going to be like a couple hours that we'll feel it max. But something could come up that could trigger, whether it's like, it can trigger a conversation about something that you're really, really passionate about. But then it's going to come out, it's like, well, is there, some value to this with that moon in Taurus? Do I really feel good about this sort of thing, or do we have to kind of go back to the drawing board? This is a Mercury retrograde in Leo too, right? So it's like those things that I said that I could talk hours on end about, like in order, I guess, of importance of the way maybe it impacts my life and stuff. Astrology is probably on the top, I would say. It's the one that's probably the most, I guess, important per se, the one that's most relevant. But I do still really enjoy watching anime. I will say that that's probably second. And then football. I do enjoy football. Though some people will say that there's no point to football, but people will. That's the thing about being an athlete too, is that I don't think that it lacks purpose, because people go into those professions because they enjoy competing. There's that energy of competition and energy and all that sort of stuff, fighting. That's like the next evolution from war is sports. Sports is a natural progression from the warlike energy, is to go into sports. It's a natural progression, and you can't get rid of any side of the zodiac. So you can't. War is baked into the human experience. I definitely don't think we need all the senseless wars and stuff like that. I rather these freaking heads of states of various countries just duke it out in a fucking boxing match, or fucking like someone that posted on Facebook. It's like, we have all these billionaires and no one has built a fucking holographic arena where they can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, that would be freaking dope. I'd much rather watch that than like debates and shit, personally, or wars and whatever. But I digress. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, with sports, people may go into sports, they may make a lot of money, and then they may use that to help out their community and to give back. Not all athletes do that, but a lot of them do. And a lot of it does come from the right place, right? It's not just that they're blowing it on big houses and nice cards and whatever like that. It's they can use that money to give back to the community because a lot of those athletes don't necessarily come from rich backgrounds. They may come from very humble backgrounds, and they may use their position as an athlete to entertain us because we all need entertainment. We all need a break from the day-to-day hustle and bustle of life. So we entertain ourselves, and there's a place for that. There is a value in that. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist, and we wouldn't pay those people, right? Now, is there a disparity in how much they get paid compared to like other professions? Yeah, I think that's something that needs to be addressed. But there's still a value and a use for that. So I'm not one of these people. Like, so there's a lot of things. There's a lot of people in this rich community that just feel like sports are not spiritual. I'm like, if only you knew how much the gods bet on these games, y'all will be surprised. But I digress. They can use that money, like I said, these athletes can use that money to give back to their communities. So, but for me personally, as far as sports go, it's not going to be like over like say like astrology or something else, or like family, or something, something different. But it's still there. You know what I mean? So I think it's like this square is going to be kind of an interesting energy where it's like we have to see, what really is important, and maybe we do kind of number it in like different tiers, whatever like that. But that doesn't mean that we can't appreciate and love those things that we may find to be maybe on the bottom tier of those things that we find important. Maybe it's not, or maybe it's more mid tier and stuff. Maybe it will help us to, at the very least, because this is Virgo season, right? It will help us to kind of bring things more into clear view as far as how to kind of organize our life and what we need to put our energy into. That's the whole purpose of this square of this moon and Uranus, is finding the right place for these things, because this is also 22 degrees. 2 plus 2 is 4, which is very Uranian. And Uranus energy, another part of Uranus energy, is finding the right place to put things, because everything does have its place and stuff. Everyone likes to think that Uranus is random, but even in randomness there can be order, hence why Saturn is also a co-ruler or an original ruler of Aquarius energy. So that's the thing about this one, and we're going to see that, of course, earlier in the day. We will, of course, see this moon also make a nice little trine over to Venus, so that's going to be a nice one, especially considering that, this Venus is not having the best time in Virgo, but it is teaching us a level of resiliency as far as how can we receive, in our life, and maybe the day-to-day reality with Virgo, and just the things that we know we need to get done, the tasks that we need to get done. It's like the energy that we get back from actually doing the right thing, we feel much better about it. And with this moon and Taurus helping to even ground some of that, it's like getting your tasks done, you're going to feel better about it. You know, hammering out those little details and everything like that, you're going to feel a lot better about it. That's the trick to this energy. It's like, yeah, Venus may be, in its fall in Virgo, but a trine to the moon makes it to where it's like, if you do the right thing, if you do the adult thing, if you do the mature thing with the Virgo energy, if you know how to adapt in a physical sense, if you will, and just take care of those tasks and start knocking things off the to-do list, you're going to feel way better about yourself. You're going to feel like you can accomplish anything, and that's really what it comes down to, right? So we'll see that, and then we'll see this moon conjunct Uranus. That's going to be interesting. Definitely will probably throw an interesting wrench into the mix. It's always going to be, whenever you get a planet that conjuncts Uranus, there's always random stuff that just kind of comes out of nowhere. And then, it could be even like a person or an emotion that just sort of comes up, just that elicits a response, especially after a day where the moon squares Mercury and trines Venus. This moon and Uranus could be an emotion that does come up out of nowhere, maybe even a memory that you unlock that just kind of comes up out of nowhere and really starts to kind of like ground and hone in as far as like, okay, what is really important? Where can I find those victories in my life? Where can I find those victories in my life? Where have I And even with these energies right here, where in the past maybe I have done something where I did it by any means necessary, and maybe I did compromise my integrity, but you know what? That's in the past, and I can make a new decision. I can choose differently this time. I might have compromised my integrity in the past, and I think we all have done that. No one's perfect. But this is a day that kind of gives us a nice opportunity to recognize those things and to be like, you know what? I did that. That was a challenge. I'm going to learn from that mistake. I'm going to choose differently and I'm going to move forward. And that's really what it comes down to. We'll see that moon shift into Gemini too, coming towards the end of the day. And of course, that'll make an immediate trine over to Pluto. But that's pretty much how the day ends astrologically. It's going to be pretty much all Taurus until like the very tail end of the day, when it will finally come into Gemini. And then, of course, we're getting ready and we're building up to the third quarter square to the moon, which we'll talk about more on Monday's video. Last tarot card I do have is the Two of Swords, or the Two of Bows upright. So, like I said, you remember how I literally was just saying that we may look into the past and we may be like, you know what, maybe I made some bad decisions there, or maybe some indecisions. Two of Swords, it's a stalemate card. You come to a stalemate, but it's also the card of indecision, and he's meditating on top of seemingly a pile of junk. So it could be one of those things where maybe we're meditating on top of all of the decisions that we made in the past that have brought us to this moment. But we can still find some peace within this space and figure out a direction to go. I think today comes down to making a choice on which direction to go. That's not going to say that you're going to be perfect going forward, because you're not. But it's about making a conscious decision to pick a direction and to go for it. That is how you're going to achieve the true victory of this day. Oracle card. I got two cards. I got Rebel and Change the Scenery. It looks like the best thing to do today is to go the other way. Do something different. Change the scenery and rebel. Those are the two cards that come up here. So that's what it comes down to. You can choose differently. That is the affirmation for today. Choose differently. Choose differently, or just know that you can make a different choice. Like if you're coming up to a situation where you've been here before, it could be as simple as maybe you order out food a lot and you're going to decide to not order out food. Maybe you order out food 5 times a week, and maybe you come to this day and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to order out this week. I'm going to bring my food. And maybe you still order out the other 4 times. But maybe you just make that conscious decision. It's like, instead of ordering out 5 times a week, or, instead of going, and these are just simple examples, or just instead of going to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts 5 times a week to get my coffee, I'm only going to go 3 times a week. I'm going to make my coffee at home, or I'm going to drink less coffee, or maybe I'm going to switch coffee for tea. It's simple things like that. Choose differently. Rebel. Change the scenery. Change the energy up. And we are in Virgo season 2. It's physical earth. So that's what I'm saying. Like the actions that we take, especially because it's the sun there, the actions that we take, and that we're going to be able to really see the biggest change in, is if we can do those little things in our physical reality that will slowly over time show us how we can adapt and be more resilient in such strange, austere, yet powerful times. I know this week doesn't seem like a lot's happening astrologically, but it's giving us an opportunity to really make some powerful, conscious decisions. That is going to do it for your daily tarot and astrology reading this Sunday, August 25th of 2024. I trust that this message will assist you on your journey today. But y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful Sunday. I will see you all on the next tarot and astrology reading. Peace.